All right, check. Hello, hello. Don't know if it's working yet. Can't hear myself in the headphones. What's going on? Check. All right, we'll give it a second here. Make sure everything's working. In the meantime, it is working. But because the feedback we don't have yet.
Hello.
Did it go live? Receiving URL there. Norwegian-Wood.com. NW. Norwegian-Wood. That's the song we're going today. We're going to check in the audio right now. This is actually a lot of work here. Get stuff set up. Song will not be a lot of work. Maybe not. Can't tell yet. Computer audio is problematic sometimes.
We're good.
We're good?
Yep, we're good.
We need headphones. Get in here.
Alright, so here we go. We're going to do
Bands or loud.
I'll turn on one out there because things are running hot here in the Northeast, Pennsylvania, USA, like in the 90s. Computers, laptops, they'll throttle back. Things will get sluggish.
So if we freeze up and go away, our computer is overheated.
I use my iPhone. I want to use this. Let me plug my iPhone in so it stays charged. Use that for the camera. Shoestring operation here. So we can get
Echoey.
Alright, so
Sorry, we are.
So the song we're going to do is Norwegian-Wood. Passed by the Beatles. There's a show you the melody. I'll just play the melody for you. Everybody recognize this one. There's a bunch of little things you can go over. Cool song. It's actually a modal. First part of the song is actually not in PT. It's a D Mixolydian cool fancy thing. And second part's D minor. Not minor. So here's the melody. What?
Echo.
Now this works good on low G, especially well.
Hear me?
Huh? Like I can nothing. I just hear myself. I'm not got headphones on. Let me read it again. Put this in a second here. Hold on.
Hope everybody had a good 4th of July.
We do have like the natural reverb, I guess.
Not really done yet.
That's all right. Oh well, can't turn it out. Not with equipment we have now. What's that?
Not usually that.
Oh, here.
This is Jerry.
That's there then. Control here on this.
That's me.
It's not. We're just going to build in a Mac. Microphone. Alright. Now my reverse. Can't do anything without that.
We're not till teacher.
We will be able to. Everything's resolved. Try the fan. Try this. Hopefully the computer lasts. Alright? Ready? always one. So hopefully you downloaded it. It'll look like this, the download. I have a tab version in it, the melody, and actually a sample bass line, which is Paul McCartney's bass line on the song. So back to the melody. Alright. What's that? Huh? Can you hear it? Alright, so.
There's an echo.
Hello? It's ringing. Somebody's calling you. Hello? Yeah, I don't know where it's coming from, though. Let's check audio difficulties here, maybe. Everything's off. That's not in the loop. There's not a lot of control here on the Mac. There's nothing here. Everything's off. Alright, so let's just go with what we have. Right here, the fan on the computer, that's running. My computer's running at like 70 degrees. I think I have it on centigrade, which is actually pretty high for the computer. So now C is our lowest note that we can get on a high G. So you could get a high G. You have to go grab one. So I'll play the version we're going to try to learn. Keyword try. That's a high. That's a low G. Check. Clipping. Check. Back.
This one?
What's that? Yeah, hold on a second. Alright,
so. Oops. Yeah, someone just said terrible echo makes it impossible to understand.
Yeah, it's hard. I have no idea why that is.
Stop it. Restart it.
I have no control here.
Well, don't do it live. Record it and post it later.
Still gotta do it. Alright. That doesn't have a head jack, does it?
What?
Nothing.
No, not a regular.
Alright. We have audio restrictions here. Beyond our control, C's or expertise. So in the meantime, you can just go and download that song. Yeah, weird. Let me try this. Switch mics.
It's getting worse.
I didn't switch yet.
Oh.
Switch. Oh, let me try this. Hold on. Turn something off. A little better, is it now? Is it better?
I don't know. You have to give it a second.
Try one thing. See if this is better.
There, yeah. It's good now. There you go. Alright, thank you all for hanging in there with us while we figure that out.
Lots of moving parts. Do we we're using the iPhone's camera, and here it was picking up the audio also. Because the internal iMac, a new Mac, webcam freezes up on OBS. So here we go, all right? Crazy. All right, maybe we're better off. So here's the melody. This melody is actually in 12/8, which means there's 12 beats per measure, and the 8th note receives 1 beat. Now, we typically, theoretically, you should count to 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, but you don't do that. It's felt in 4 groupings of 3, just like a triplet, but they're not actually triplets technically. So we would just count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And I wrote the count underneath to learn the melody. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right. So then so there's only 2 phrases in this song. A major phrase based off of the D major scale, but this first part of the song is actually in what we would call D mixolydian, I think, because it never really does an A, 7, or C to resolve back to the D. So then the second part is a minor. So this second part is somewhat easy. It does feel like triplets. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now initially when you're first counting and you're counting out loud, you'll be really focused on the count and not really hear the melody. So you have to slowly get it to internalize. Because overdrove the source. So I'm doing the D minor part now. Now D minor part is actually pretty easy. The basic version is you can grab a D minor chord that everybody should know. I didn't get a chance to put up the chords. All right, so D minor. I started the melody and chord stuff, but it's like D minor. Right, so that's the first measure of that phrase where I just played the A, G, 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 F, 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 G, F, G. Let me jump to the melody and chord there, the tab. I have to switch programs here. Find it. So there's the tab for the minor part. Ends on the G. All right. There you can see the whole line. All right. So back to the melody. There you go. Now, to do so you learn the melody totally by itself. Now, on a high G, the melody and chord version will work really pretty well. So you can sort of get the essence. It actually sort of sounds a bit like you get a bit of the sitar that George Harrison played in there with the high G. All right, but that's not the melody, but we sort of hear it and fill it in anyway. All right. So now we want to add chords to these melodies. So I have a chord I call mushy D. If you grab your D chord, so what we need when we play the melody and chords together is we actually need to have a finger free to dart around and play the melody as we're playing the chord. This is akin to a piano player playing a chord in their left hand and the melody in the right hand. So here is, so I'm going to play the D chord, and I do what I call a mushy D. I'll put my third finger on fret 2, on string 2, fret 3, fret 2, excuse me, too many twos. And then I'll take my second finger and put it flat across the strings 4 and 3. This allows me to have every note right behind the frets, because it's hard to cram 3 fingers in. If I did it with fingers 2, 3, and 4, my pinky would have to dart around and I'd have to handle the open E string. If I do 3 bigger fingers, it just can't fit in there and get behind the fret. So mushy D allows me to play right behind the fret. And my pinky is going to dart around and play the melody. The second finger is already there for the F sharp when we get up to the 4th note, the F sharp, so we don't have to lift it. Now we have to lift our third finger so we can get the open E and keep that bar. We're actually trying to do what a piano player would probably do with 2 hands. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, C. Now let these ring here. And just come down for the fret 4, B, and then hit the A. Now what I do is I add a little bit here. I'll extend that to another measure and just put some fills in. When you're thinking of it this way, you're doing a cover version. So you're never going to exactly sound like the Beatles recording, which was done in 1965 with Nowhere Man. It was the flip side of Nowhere Man. It will never sound like it. You won't get the sitar effect and stuff. But so you can add it, stretch it out. So just add a little harmony. So I keep that, switch to finger 1 bar. So I had to get the C, and this C, I'll just sustain it while I'm playing the G on string 2, fret 3. Then it repeats in the music. So let me jump to the tab so you can see the repeats. Need dual monitor here. There you go. So that first section repeats. I'm going to hide my video. Now there's some fancy chords there. It does D. You can actually play C, G, D. Some references to this have A minor instead of the C. They don't have the G chord in there. But again, you're making the song your own. It's good finger picking. All right, see if I can bring back the video. Here it goes. So that would be like G, a D chord with the, and then G, C note, G chord. Now what I do is I'll do it lots of different ways, sort of learning, training my fingers to play it, and in the heat of the battle, when you're actually playing it, you'll intuitively, subconsciously pick whatever what version your ear's driving the show with. You can repeat it too. Remember, you're making your own. Now, if you're playing solo, it's fine to do that. You can change the order. You know, you could do the first part second part first. You can extend phrases. Right, now if you're playing with other people, you have to follow the form of the song. All right, so that basically repeats. You know, I once knew a girl, she once knew me. I forget the word. Look up the words, sing them correctly. If you're going to be singing them, you can actually sort of sing and play this too. That would help, because it helps me when I try to do it. I once knew these words, I don't know now what they really are. I make up the words to the melody. All right, now, so the D part is pretty easy. D major chord, that's it. Pinky darting around. Then jump off to get the C. Now, if you do have a high G, I would more strum those there. I'll jump to the high G just to show you. Because then it comes out sounding, people will hear the melody. You'll hear the melody when it's not even really there. So. So it has a bit of this drony sound, a drone like the sitar provided a drone. The sitar has a lot of drone notes in it. Now the guideline for when to play the chords and the melody is, you want to play a chord on any dotted quarter note or longer, so the first note, and you want to play it when a chord changes. So here's my D. So now I'm going to play it on the start of that next note. Play it on the, so I'm going to play it on every number 1. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, single notes here. Alright, because a C and G are pretty much 2 of the notes of the A minor chord. B passing tone, A is the 5th of D, so I'm going to hit the D again here. Sort of pseudo act as if a bass player. Now, on the recording for the D minor section, they did keep it pretty simple. I was picking it up pretty good. Just my audio, sorry. Sorry, messed up. Now, on the E minor, 7 E minor, you can play the G chord with the D and the G. Again, that is the color tones, E, G, B, D of an E minor 7. Add the G note if you want, and then when it resolves, the second time you'll get the A7. Alright, so the D minor. Now this is interesting here because the melody stays the same. On each beat 1. So each count of 1, you'll see the melody is the same as the previous note for the first 2 groupings. This gave me problems when we show you the next thing that I did. Let me see if I have it. I might have to quickly throw it onto the computer. So let me find this. Because that D minor line, there's a chance there to do what we call this cliched line. Did I get on there? And I'll let you do it when you're okay, hold on, here we go. One more attempt. Oh, wrong file. There you go. Ready? Oh, there you go, good. You're seeing the method behind the madness here. So I'm going to show this line in E minor just to show there's a D minor chord for that whole measure. There's an opportunity there to get a descending bass line. We're going to demo it in E. So here's E minor. So grab your standard E minor chord. And we're going to have the bass line descend as we play. Now sometimes you'll see this listed as E minor and then some sort of augmented chord and then a major chord G and then something there. But it's really just pretty much an E minor cliche line here with the descending bass line. Alright, so in D minor, I did this in D. In D minor, it's an easier key. If I did it in E minor, right? So E's a little hard to do, this key, so D's easier. So I'm going to hide this, and we'll apply this to the D minor. Up here, for most of us, I'm going to play D minor, then I'm going to take string 3, the D, and move it to C sharp. So I'm going to mush that here, because I have my D minor here, and I want string 3 to move 1 fret lower to here. But I still want to get that F melody note. Okay, then I'm going to play the G melody note twice. And then it switches to, the bass line goes down to C. So I can play D minor, basically D minor, C7. Not C7, D minor with a C is D minor 7. And I'll get the line moving. So I'll play it for you. Now we run out of room. We get the D, the C sharp, and the C, but we can't get the B unless you do this with a low G. You can do that. All right. So that's challenging. What challenged me a lot, it took me like weeks to learn, I think, was the switching of the bass line one note before the melody switched. So like, if I switched on 3, that'd be easy, but the melody stayed the same. And then it's first time through, you just hang on the E minor 7 or G, and E minor 7 and G are pretty close. Because E minor 7 is E, E, G, B, D. That's E minor 7. So G, B, D is G7. So you can play G for E minor 7. So after I played this, I did it in D though. Here's my E minor 7. I'm thinking that was a G chord. And a little harmony answering line up above to the G. Second time through. It's going to go to D major after this, so I want to play A7. It moves it to the key of D. Now a little sidebar here. Let me see if I can show this again. I have another one here. That cliched line. Let's see if I show it. It has a slash chord. E minor. This is in case of it. This is E minor to demo it. E minor with a D sharp. E minor with a D. E minor with a C sharp. All right. There's a shorthand notation for this also. Is that you can show it with slash E D sharp slash D slash C sharp. That way you don't have to write E minor again, in whatever in the key you're doing it in, right? So you notice it's not really listed in the progression as that, and that's not what the original composers did. But we're doing it solo, so it actually needs a little juice. The student calls the improvisations and stuff, adding a little juice. So we have the D minor. Now, oh sorry, a little frog in the throat. These lines do not, it is the bass note, but it does not have to be as a bass note for all of them. So here it is, where the lowest note is the line. I'll demo in E minor again. Now, Michelle came to my mind. Beatles, they're on a Beatles track. So really common cliched lines. So there is the lowest note. It can be the highest note. Oh, you can't see me. I'll demo these. I'll show them. This is the highest line. It can also be in the middle. Right, so we need E minor. Here we go. I'll find it on my ukulele. So I'll demo it in a couple keys now. Let's do the lowest note. For the lowest note, here's the E minor as a demo. Right, in the song we're doing D minor. Right, in the song if we're doing it with the melody and chord version, the line will be in the middle. And we bail out because we can't get the B. That's the highest note. Let's do it in C minor. Here's C minor. So I want it goes down a half step from the root. So C, B, B flat, A. All right. Now, typically you want the bass player to follow that chromatic half step descending, all right? So far, here's what we have. Now, I never really wrote an arrangement out of how I play this because it really varies each time I play it solo. Never really played it as, stand up a second so you can see, make some adjustments. So I'll go back and forth between strum it, maybe strum it when the chord and the melody are together, and then finger pick. Keep the D and the A going. Now, if you really wanted to get fancy and it would take a lot of work, I might even get an alternating bass line. So bum ba dum ba da dum bum bum. So right? It just takes depends on how much work you want to put into it. So I even did the bass line down here, first part of that melody line, the minor part, but then here I didn't. Because of that drone sound. But if you practice each way, you will make a split-second decision as you're doing it. Because it's a lot of work. So like I normally do it here, so I worked at that movement. I'll show you up here. Let me do it again. Hold on. So that's how I worked it out. I'll show you. Here's another version. I think I played this. It might have been one of the songs I played at my daughter Kelly's wedding. Did it on my 7-string. So, because the first part is not actually, I don't believe it's a major, it is a Mixolydian. So, I broke out the old 7-string guitar. I do it in A on the guitar. So that's like one time through the song. So as you see, that is really pretty short. And if you're going to make it a performance, you have to make it longer. Now I did work it out on the guitar, but I thought this. So I did thirds. At my low, I have a bass player, so you might want the bass player. You might just play the A. Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, bum. So I thought, wow, maybe you could expand it. Always make it difficult for yourself. So, wow, if that's cool, maybe I could make it even bigger, make it 4 parts with the low A. And here's what happened. Those 2 sticks didn't sound that great. Alright, so the other day I thought to myself, I'm going to try to do that same arrangement. So if I took this here, so I'm going to make like a little intro for this. So this sounds really good on low G. As an intro, high G might not even sound that bad. I'll try it. I never did it. Ooh, no dots on the side. Crazy, this ukulele has no side dots. And as a player, man, I need the side dots. So don't look at the front. See the dots throw me off. So what? Alright, so that might work, right? So I found my A, way up here, found my F sharp, way up here. Just move each line up and down. Basically it's thirds, it comes out as thirds. The F sharp and the A. Right. Then you get into the realm of the harmonized chord scale, and this is Mixolydian, so that means D, E minor, right? And that was not E minor, was it? D, but that was E minor. D, E minor. So we move up here for D. C, so basically what I'm doing now is just keeping track that I want to get F sharps in there and C. So this is actually a D mixolydian. So D mixolydian is the same notes as G major, so it has one F sharp. So I'm just making really sure that I do not play any F sharps. I mean any C sharps. So here's my F sharp. Goes up. So I'm actually thinking going down steps. Up. So D major. So I didn't get to the C sharp, so you think D major there. And another note, so this is a D triad. Messed up. Sorry, so don't do it there. That means that's finger training at that point. If I mess up moving it from here, right from there, so you messed up there. I was thinking ahead. Talking doesn't help. There, you get that F sharp. Now right out ukulele, not enough notes, so it has to be moved to the lower strings. Alright, so that all came from this. And that melody. A, B, A, G, F sharp, E, G, F sharp, D. Harmonizing it. I'm thinking there D and C, because the C sharp sounded weird. Hear that? Right? That sounds weird. So that tells me this is a mixolydian mode song. Same as, what song am I going to play? We'll do it on the right key. Let me see. Sweet Home Alabama is a mixolydian. So D, in favor of the thumb. So those two notes do give you the essence of the chord. Right? Then the second part. I think the second part's easier. Everything's there. So you can actually sometimes start with the second part. I would actually teach the students this, guitar or ukulele. I'd start with the D minor part. Fill it in. Right? Now, then you add the moving line. Because I can't go to the B, so I can't get to B, I would just go back to the D, or just C sharp. Didn't sound right. So go back to the D minor. And you can sing it. I don't have the words here. I had it in a book somewhere. But as a non-singer, I would actually sometimes play with the melody as I'm singing. You know, I once knew a girl, or should I say, she once knew me, once knew me. I once knew a girl, she once. I need the words. That's funny. All right. So the melody and chords. So just playing a chord with the melody is simple as, concept-wise, adding melody notes from the chord or direct substitutions for those chords lower. And on the high G, we have the issue of sometimes the string 4's note would be higher than the melody. Now, if we're plucking it, and like if I hit this here, this G here, it would be higher than this D. But if I pluck it like this, you'll hear that as the melody because it's the last note hit. But if I pluck them together, you might hear that as the melody. But if I can make one louder, the loudest note will be the melody. The highest note, if played together, will be the melody. Right? Strumming. Now that actually, if you're doing a high G, and I don't really do this on high G, it can get, you can add some more complexity. Strumming is, if I play this bushy D, I call it, and I strum up, I have that A melody. But it just is, to me, it ends up being a lot of work. So if you put the time in and come up with a really cool arrangement of this, you'll get that drony sitar sound of. And you can actually fake it out too, like this. If I play this on the low G, you sort of hear that movement. You can actually harmonize it, change that melody. Because I really like this. The melody is great. So I got the C, play the C open instead. So C, that gives you the melody, people are familiar hearing it. Then do E instead of, then the G, D. So it'll sound like the song. Nobody will, they'll think they heard it. They'll think it's a harmony line that was in the recording maybe. There's a lot you can do with it. Think of it as you're doing your own version. I also thought this would be funny because this is in D. So it would be cool because this is a G, which is the fourth of D, D, E, F, G. So it's not really like the bass player is going to play A's and D notes. He's going to play D as the root, and then A as the low note as the fifth. So maybe if I tune this up to A. Alternate tuning. So you just have to remember, because if you don't think the fingers are going to go to what you played a lot. So that's actually sounded pretty cool. I never did it that way. part again. That sounded pretty cool. What was it at? Hold on. No dots. Throws me off. Put dots on the side, manufacturers. Come on. It's like pennies. There we go. See, I actually never played it this way. Here we get the melody. Scroll it up for you, everybody. So I'm taking that D minor part. I'm moving my A here. I'm borrowing these two strings here. All right, and I'm just muting string 1, or I could be open, that's A. That's cool. Let me start it again. Now, I gotta do the G, so that's A note, now it's B, so I'll do this. Maybe move it here. Right, make it harder. Okay, there we go. So this is the process I go through. Yep, so that would need more work. That sounded pretty cool though, didn't it? I like that. By one reason, I've never really written out the complete arrangement of this song. It would be done in so many different ways. I do it in different keys. G would be good with a low G. That gets pretty high, so maybe I would move this up here. This is the F. Alright, so create a lot more work for yourself. Alright, so different keys. So the G minor. Alright, so that might not work there. So a whole thing won't work. So you find that key where you have to put more work into it, like forget a bass player, because I did actually write out. I took Paul McCartney's bass line, and you'll see you'll just go to the bass line a little here. Once that shows up. Yep. So he's just playing a D, that first note, boom, then to the low A, boom. Then he did D, D, C, G, A. Right? Did the A for the D bass note. Right now, I did just pedal the D, his bass line. I think I kept it that way. Yep. So he just did D. No, I added a descending bass line. I think the descending bass line is pretty cool. All I'm doing there is taking a triad D flat, right? A, B flat, moving it up. Here's my B flat, moving it all the way up to fret 10, which is G. So that's my E minor 7 G. After this. So if you hit the melody and get pretty much most of the chords, you will get this song. So the melody is king. Right, these tracks, not the tracks. This is the tab you get when you go to learningukulele.com, NW, Norwegian-Wood. Right, NW is the Norwegian-Wood. You'll get, this is the download you can get. And just the melody by itself, which was just this isolated with the rhythm count. All right, the chords are the simple chords, D. Now I'm doing D here. I want to get a low, that's not D, that's a C. This is my C, C, G, C, G. So to me that sounds too much harmony. The harmony is higher, it's got to be lighter, which is really hard to do. To pluck 3 strings and hit one louder than the other, I can't do it. There's a story I heard of a piano player that had such incredible technique. He could play a 10-fingered chord on his piano and discernibly hit one of the notes louder than the others. That is incredible. That would be the equivalent of this here, playing like a 3-note triad and hitting one finger louder than the other. Put together, can't do it. Can't do it. I don't know if it's something I try to work on either. Some things are just maybe not possible or too much work. Right. And the ending is, I'll jump to the tab. No real discernible ending. There's an interlude, which is basically the same without the words. Now I do have this one book. It's so funny. Sometimes you can get, if you're working on Beatles songs, there's this one giant book called the Beatles Complete Scores. Buy this book and a magnifying glass, because it actually has every note the Beatles ever recorded, but it's super small, the music font, just because they had to fit it on there. It's 1,000 pages. Norwegian-Wood, I remember from looking at it the other day, is up at page 712. No audience feedback. But it actually has like the sitar part in there. So sometimes you can just look at the music, listen to the recording, and take essence of the recording and apply it. This is where I verified sort of what the bass was doing. A couple of guitars they had in it, little intros. George capoed somewhere. Drums didn't really do a lot. I don't think it had drums. But it was the first song with the sitar in it. That's when George Harrison started to be influenced by the Indian music, Middle Eastern music. All right, so computer's running hot. I've seen some things online that if you have a laptop, especially Mac, sometimes those batteries will run hot. That they actually sell separate cooling pads to cool your computer down. Because if the computer gets hot, it will throttle down, throttle back. And any video stuff, it'll get hot. Like this phone is hot. The other day it got so hot, I had to I stuck it in the freezer and forgot about it, but got it like a half hour later. It was okay. So Norwegian-Wood, that's a good Beatles song just to fool around with. It's only actually really 2 chords, D. It's a fun song, fun song. Get that, go for that drony sound. High G or low G. I think if I do a high G, it needs another version now. Alright, so there you go. There's another hour down the tubes. Alright, I'll figure out what we're going to do next week. Because these songs are a lot of work to get all the graphics, and I didn't get half of them up that I wanted. It takes like
4 to 6 hours to put all this together. So that you have some music to go by, feedback. But download the tab, explore it, listen to it, grab essences of what's in the song if you like. So Norwegian-Wood, recorded 1965, was known as The Bird Has Flown. It was John Lennon pretty much wrote most of it with some help from McCartney. But the lyrics they say is very Dylan-esque. So you got a lot of weird double meanings in them. So, all right, so Norwegian-Wood. So we'll sign off. We'll see everybody down the road. Steve Montgomery, I'll see you Monday online. All right. So enjoy the rest of your holiday. Stay safe. Wear a mask. All right. You're not invincible. All right. Goodbye. Thank you.